little nervous. I'm sweating like an Amish guy at Circuit City. That's not funny. Okay. I'm up here trying my best. I'm sweating like Britney Spears at a spelling bee. You guys are laughing at me. I wore my suit tonight in case I die up here. I'll be dressed for the funeral. Looks like that'll be a good decision, right? It's not funny. You ever Google yourself? Feels good, don't it? I Googled myself last week. My name's John Kunda, K-U-N-D-A. And apparently there are 6 John Kundas in the world. There's me and 5 guys in Africa. It's true, it's true. Zambia to be exact, okay? They don't look anything like me. I don't think we're related. They probably have little meetings where they chant Kunda, Kunda, Kunda. But seriously, they're pretty accomplished. One's an accountant, one's an architect, the guy's a doctor. I just sell stuff. I do a lot of group presentations. Basically, I stand up in front of people and sweat like Octomom at a family planning conference. It's good work if you can get it. I mean, it pays well. It's a wonderful country, you know. I'm married. That was funny? Yeah. I got a lot more sweat jokes. Married, by a show of hands, or shout out, or fart, or something. Who here is married?
Married.
Very good.
Yeah.
I've been married for 24 years. Marriage is a fine institution, so I've been living in an institution for 24 years. And they say marriage takes a lot of work, you know. And I would say if you're a guy, marriage takes a lot of thought. Okay, meaning you got to think ahead. You got to be on top of your game, because as a guy, you can get in trouble for what you do. But more importantly, you can get in trouble for what you don't do. Okay? Case in point, my wife and I first met. We had a beautiful first Christmas together, and her birthday is January 5th. And right around New Year's, I asked my wife, I says, "Hey, what do you want for your birthday, baby?" You know, and she says, "Oh, nothing." You know, I believed her. How stupid is that, right? What she should have said is, "Oh, nothing," if you're an idiot, you know. So January 5th rolls around, you know, and I take her out to a nice dinner at Ponderosa, you know. And believe me, if you take your woman to Ponderosa for her birthday, you have no money, okay? I mean, the dress code there for guys is like wife beaters and Dale Earnhardt t-shirts and hats that say Mack Truck on them. And then the ladies usually stepping out in faded jeans and tank tops or spandex or some ensemble from the Sweats collection, you know? And so we're sitting there having dinner, and at some point during the dinner, she says, "So I'm ready for it." And I was like, "Ready for what?" And she says, "My present, you know, what'd you get me?" I said, nothing. You said you didn't want anything." And she starts going off how she can't believe I got her nothing, and how her whole life she's been getting ripped off because her birthday's so close to Christmas, and I apologized. And then I realized the whole restaurant had gotten quiet. It was like an E.F. Hutton commercial, you know? And I'm looking at all the couples with no money and all the families with no money, and all the ladies are looking at me like I'm trash, you know? And the guys, they're holding their heads down like this and shaking it with their Mack truck hats and shit, you know. And it ain't working, you know. I was very, very embarrassed. But I'll tell you what, I learned my lesson. That year, it didn't matter what holiday it was, she's getting a present. Valentine's Day, of course, right? Memorial Day, Labor Day. Yeah, you're getting your present. Vernal equinox, okay? Happy vernal equinox, dear. Oh, how thoughtful. Who was vernal equinox? I'm like, I don't know. He's a real important guy. He, vernal equinox. Yeah, he was had something to do with our independence from England. He was a colonel vernal equinox in George Washington's army, and he actually rowed the boat when they crossed the Delaware. That's why they got the day named after him, you know. And I'll tell you what, I got real nervous. I was sweating like a call girl in church. And they say that a man will never forgive, but he'll forget. A woman will forgive, but she'll never forget. She still brings that up. She's sitting there laughing. I'm sweating like a Bernie Madoff client. It's not cool. Fast forward several years, and we actually got married and everything. I was forgiven, had 2 beautiful sons, Johnny and Mikey, you know. And I was able to take my wife to the Caribbean, so I took her to St. Martin in July. Okay, and believe me, your ship hasn't yet come in if you take your wife to the Caribbean in July. It's hot. It was hotter than Anna Kournikova. And I was sweating like a nun in a cucumber patch. And so we're in the back of this cab going to the beach. Right? So we're in the back of this cab going to the beach, you know? And it's got the 4 and 30 air conditioning, you know? That's where they roll down 4 windows and drive 30, right? And the cab driver, he's chatting me up. He's calling me lover boy. Hey, lover boy. Hey, lover boy, is that your woman? I'm thinking, who else is it? Somebody else's, right? Yeah, that's my woman. Lover boy, you married? He's trying to get a tip. Yeah, I'm married. He says, how many years you married, lover boy? And I was like, 7 years. And everything's cool, you know, it was 10 a.m. in St. Martin. I had about 5 rum and cokes in me, you know. And my wife looks at me and she says, you know it's almost 9 years, right? And I should have been on top of my game here. I should have said, yeah, I'm just messing with him, but I didn't. I get this dumb look on my face. 7, right? And she says, no, next month on August 19th, it'll be our 9th anniversary. So I start trying to do the math in my head through that alcoholic haze, and I keep coming up with 7. So I'm arguing the point, 7. And then she says, and I'll never forget this, she says, our son Johnny's 7. And then suddenly all the math worked. We've been married almost 2 years before we had Johnny, and I had to admit to it and everything. And the cab driver, who was looking in the rearview mirror at me, is now looking straight ahead. He's not saying shit, okay? I'm sitting there sweating like a cold bear at an August barbecue. I'm getting the knock here. So I want to thank you guys for laughing at me. I really appreciate that. I'll leave you with one request. Please don't steal any of my jokes because I stole them from some other guy and 2 wrongs don't make a right. Thank you very much.